Hi everyone, my name is Jerome. I'm an alcoholic and addict. Um, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about tonight, and hopefully not too much about me, but kind of like where we're at. But I've hit some milestones recently. Um, on the This is called the 31st. I got 45 months sober with no alcohol, nothing. Especially no pills too. I was addicted to benzos because crazy anxiety, panic attacks my whole life. So pills and alcohol, fucking awesome. Been sober 45 months. Been Spent most of my life in Los Angeles, all my life in Los Angeles, really, and moved out to the Midwest. Also, the same date, 1 year ago. So I've been sober in the Midwest for 1 year, which is where all the beer comes from in the United States. All the domestic beer comes from where I live. That's where I moved to, and try a joke. So everybody knows what California sober is. So I'm in Wisconsin. Everybody knows what California sober is, right? Well, Wisconsin sober means you just don't drink imports. Anyway, so I'm sober there. I moved out here to start a vinyl record pressing plant. I got rid of all my stuff. I got in my car. I came to a state in a town. A person who I've known 20 years but never met hired me to help him open and run a vinyl record plant. It's been nothing but stress. It's stuff that I haven't shared here, most of it. It's one of those things that the business that we're doing, you just don't share it on the internet. You know what I mean? But I can tell you, it's put me to the brink of insanity, stress, pit of your stomach. Oh my God, I got to solve this. I mean, this last year has just been really intense. A lot of people haven't seen too much from me. I can't stay up late, but yeah, it's been crazy. But I'll tell you what, I've kept my head down and just kept my head down and focused on one decision at a time. That's it, just one decision at a time. If I would have focused on results, if I would have graded myself every single day, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys. I had to make myself not just focus on one thing at a time, not get too high, too low, you know, just glad to see it when it happens. That's cool. And then what's the next thing? So anyway, so yeah, I wanted to just talk is I've hit 3 years, 3 years, 0.75, 3 years, 9 months sobriety. I was never supposed to quit drinking. I started drinking when I was 13. Sure, by 15, we all knew we were alcoholics. I spent my whole life where there was no shame in being an alcoholic. It was encouraged, and we were all going to drink till we died. And, I was going back over some songs I put out on my little punk rock label. It's songs about drinking and just drinking more. And it just was one of those things where I was just going to be another one of those people my age. Oh yeah, Jerome, man, he was cool, like fucking yeah. Remember that time? Blah blah blah. Yeah, he died from alcohol. Did you hear that? Like, oh yeah. Well, we all knew that was going to happen. It would have been a story. Maybe there would have been a party. Then it would have just been a statistic of where a whole bunch of us were going to go eventually, but we're all going to go down together, right? I got lucky and fucking, I got lucky. I got lucky. I was hoping to stay married to my fellow alcoholic best friend, partner in life. We're going to move from Los Angeles to Idaho. And, I was going to bring her back to her parents, and I was going to leave the career I was in. And I complained too much. And I said, if this doesn't change and that doesn't change, then I'm not going back with you. Fuck that, blah, blah, blah. And that went on for quite a while. And this very, very unique, smart, brilliant, brilliant human being fucking called my bluff and said, okay. Also, one of those extraordinary human beings that when they make their fucking decision, there wasn't an argument. I didn't argue. I went, I'm going, I'm like, are we working apart or, are we working together still or working apart? And it's like, and the answer was all we're working apart, even though it's stressful. Like, finally, the answer was like, no, we're working towards being apart. And she went home and I stayed. And, yeah, nothing crazy happened. There wasn't infidelity on either side. It was just, I took things for granted, but that happened. That changed life because all of our friends that's when it stepping away, because everything that we did for, I think, about 12 years of marriage, um, revolved around alcohol. She was a nurse. I worked in music. We did really good, but all of our friends were at this one bar, in Studio City, California, where all the people that work at the movie TV studios worked and drank, and we all drank together. We spent every Christmas drinking and then closing the bar, because the bar would be open on Christmas and Thanksgiving and close it, because we'd all go there and drink. And every holiday, everything was wrapped around drinking. Our whole entire lives were wrapped around drinking, and it was everybody. And it was fucking normal for a long time. Everything was normal. Then that happened. The record plant I worked for closed. A whole bunch of things fucking happened that I could have easily made excuses. That had nothing to do with alcohol, and a lot of it really didn't have to do with alcohol. But I was fucking really lucky that a whole bunch of really bad things happened all at the same time to me. And I was, and anyway, the point is if everything went to plan, if we remained married and went to Idaho, you know, I'd probably be dead or dying from alcoholism. So one of the things, I guess my general point is, anybody who's disappointed that life didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, spoiler alert, it's not. It never does. You don't know what's going to be 5 years from now. You don't know if there's going to be 5 years, right? It's going to be different. It's always going to be different. It's never going to be how you planned it out. You know what I mean? And that's what I found out. In my case, if everything went exactly I hoped and dreamed, I'd be fucking dead, or I'd be a very sick human being, or I wouldn't be fucking happy. That's for sure. Alcohol worked for me for a fucking really long time. And so here I am. And I've been in secular AA all the way up to the first year of my sobriety, and I found this group, and that's the reason why I'm sitting here today, because I wasn't going to make it in conventional Alcoholics Anonymous. So on that note, what is secular AA? Because it's just, I don't know how to talk about myself. Like, it's really cool. Like, all of these folks here, this group that has grown, that I've been part of like 2.5 years, something like that now. What is secular AA? What are we doing? Like, and the thing is what's secular? Secular is the separation of church and state. That's all it is. It's not against religion. It's not one thing or another. Everybody in this group, everybody wrote down what their beliefs were or not. I guarantee none of them would be exactly the same. There would be some different thing, a feeling, a thing, the spectrum of belief in something bigger than yourselves, or not at all. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the spectrum is so big. So the whole point of secular is we're not comparing face sizes, we're just not. It's a separation of church and state. That's all it is. So we're here not drinking at the same time because it was either going to kill us, it was unmanageable. We were just self-aware and wanted a change in life, or something drastic, or court. But the fact is, we're all here, and we've all decided that at some point, being told that it's this way or you're going to fail wasn't working for us, or you just felt uncomfortable. In my case, I felt like a fraud. Like, my 1 year of sobriety, again, things didn't work out. My phone got stolen out of my car at the gas station, and I lost all my AA contacts on my phone at my 1 year. And it was actually worked out for me, because I was scared to go to that 1 year meeting and take the cake and the chip, because I was supposed to go, this is great. I got down on my knees and I prayed to God, and, I connected with my higher power. When anything went wrong, I just prayed and it worked out. And like, I wasn't going to lie to this group of people and newcomers, but I also didn't want to bum out their party. I was fucking frightened about celebrating 1 year of fucking sobriety when I was never supposed to fucking quit drinking at all, ever. Not me, ever. But I was fucking afraid, right? And I had tried 2 sponsors. Both of them, said it's okay that you're an atheist. And I'm like, look, I appreciate people of faith, right? Like, and they're like, yeah, but eventually it's just like, yeah, you're not connecting. You're not ready for step 3. You're not ready for this. You're not going to make it. You just got to keep trying. Eventually the miracle's going to happen. And so, I got really lucky, and I probably should have found it earlier. But my point is the first year of sobriety was the year before the pandemic. And the fucking pandemic happened, man. And the whole Zoom thing was supposed to be this, patch, this like fix, like for the, because the pandemic is going to blow over in a few weeks, couple of months, so we can go back to our folding chairs and shitty coffee. This was just going to be a temporary thing. Well, what happened is my story and all your all story, and people from all over the fucking world, we looked over the fence, not just the little meetings in our little regional thing where people could be gatekeepers and say it's this way or the highway and make you feel not comfortable. We all fucking found each other. That's what's really cool about this, is that like we're experiencing history right now. Like this thing's been around since the 30s, right? 20 years from now, it's going to be in the history books, and especially people who got sober in Zoom. It's going to be the history of the most biggest fundamental change in recovery ever. Things that have changed that I heard Scott talking about. You know, I caught the tail end of that. I shared about pills in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and a lady scolded me after the meeting and said, "You don't. This is for alcohol only." Dude, we're at our most vulnerable fucking point in possibly our whole lives, right? And you've got people fucking with you because they got something to fuck. Why? Okay, so why are they doing that, right? Why are they doing that? They're not thinking that they're doing damage. They're not being bullies per se. It's the human nature of it's fucking humans, dude. It's not all this AA stuff is like, this wasn't invented at AA. This has been humans long before, thousands of years before that. So you have a friend that starts working out and they go, "Hey, you should work out too. Look at me. I quit smoking. You should too." You know, if someone is trying, and again, I appreciate theology and religion. If you think that I'm crapping on conventional AA or religion, I'm not. It's not my intention, but there's going to be snarky humor there about it. If someone's here to save you, are they really want to save you? No, people that are not, the smartest guy in the room is the quiet one. The guy who knows how to fight usually doesn't pick a fight at a bar. People who are people of faith usually don't need to go shove it down someone else's throat. They're comfortable in their own skin. When someone tells you it's their way and that's the way it's done, it just means they're uncomfortable in their own belief. It's just, that's knowing where the source comes from. You don't really take it personally. And that's what's cool about this group, is that we're not trying, all we're doing is sharing what our experiences are. And then, you know what I mean? And not saying like, my way is your way. You just go, yeah, this is what worked for me. This is, this is some of the pitfalls. This is where I'm at. This Mike G says it really well. This Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a big toolbox of steps and books and sponsors and this and that, and it's all, you can hang on to the guardrails, just whatever it takes to be sober. Everything's free. You don't have to pay for it. You can open up the toolbox and the crayon box and you could write and you could do this, but it's not a requirement to be here. And the thing is, I didn't know how many newcomers would be here, so I think I'm talking to more people who've been around a little bit. I just tell people, I stick around because I like to tell people the only fucking requirement to be here is the desire to stop drinking. The only fucking requirement to be here is the desire to stop drinking. If anybody fucking tells you anything else, tell them the fuck off. I mean, literally, like, they're fucking with your life. You're trying to cause less harm. You're trying to be a better person. And someone's telling you you can't unless you do it this way. So if there's not a lot of newcomers here, please tell them that's the news. That's the rules in the book. That's the only requirement, right? And so, like Scott was talking about being scolded. So it's all A now. It's the thing that's happening in history. It's all A now. No one fucking cares. No reasonable person cares. By the way, raise your hand if you only do one thing in your active addiction? Like, I don't think, right? Who does one thing? I only drink Miller Lite and I don't do a drug. I don't do, come on. Like, the idea that, you're just addicted to one thing is kind of silly. So, that's not a thing anymore, and, the other things, okay. So again, going back to what secular is, right? And I thought about this the other day, and it's like, what's the difference? And again, I'm not trying, I hate, one of the things we don't really have to do disclaimers here. Well, before I say this, let me pretend that I'm not trying to offend any. There's not a lot of that here, which is good. We feel comfortable talking to each other. So I'm just going to say it. Difference between someone in this room, necessarily, like someone in this room that goes, I don't have blind faith. maybe there's something. I'm an atheist. I'm an agnostic. You question blind faith. You question there's something out there that's going to get you. I think Jeffrey Munn said it in this meeting, like the type of faith that like you really think there's something out there that's going to get you a parking spot that day. That's what he describes it as, right? And you just don't. You question it. What's the difference between atheist, agnostic? Just questioning what is being told in conventional AA that you're going to, find him now or die, basically. What's the difference between an atheist, agnostic, questioning things, and someone of faith? So the aliens have been in the news lately, right? I don't know, maybe he's following this Congress, like bipartisan, conservative, liberal, they're shoulder to shoulder saying, tell us what's going on here, right? And so maybe the aliens are coming down. So there's a joke. And the aliens come down. Here's the difference between an atheist, agnostic, and someone of faith. Anybody in this room, the aliens come down and go, hey guys, guess what? There's a God, there's a heaven, it's a thing. Most of us probably wouldn't be that upset. Be like, oh, that's fucking cool, right? Like, that's nice. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. I'm gonna see my dead relatives and it's gonna be awesome, right? And hey, man, I've lived a pretty good life. I guess I'm gonna go to, this is all real. We wouldn't be upset. We don't fear there being maybe a God or not, right? But the aliens came down, said there's no cancer, there's no one's going to starve, money's not a thing anymore, unlimited fuel. By the way, the whole X marks the spot religion thing, it's not really a thing. You know what I mean? What would happen then? Think about what would happen to the world. There'd be a lot of people that would be devastated because they have wrapped their whole lives around this, and that the reason why it would be bad news to them is the reason why it's hard for people like us to feel comfortable in a conventional state. There's a fear of being around something that you don't have people surrounding you feeling the same thing. So it's not a crap on religion, just a thought about, the difference. But the thing is, we all found each other. And now there's like, I don't know how many, 300 secular meetings out there. Oh, and by the way, if you go to a conventional meeting, there's a lot more talk about exclusivity. There's a lot more talk about understanding people from different things. I've seen it, and it's like really neat. So we're like in this history thing. People don't know history is happening when they're in it. I promise you, years down the line. So if you're here and you're new and you're sober, this is a really good time to fucking be here because it's actually, kind of pretty neat how it's changing. What else are they going to talk about? Okay. Yeah. I had to simplify things. I really had to fucking simplify things. Again, you come here and you're a newcomer. This is what I want a newcomer to hear. You're here. You can't fuck it up. If you show up and you open your mouth, you find a way to talk instead of keeping it inside, and you find if this group isn't your group, again, there's a million other ones out there. You don't have to leave your house. If you feel that you have a desire to stop to doing less harm reduction, progress from where you're at, be less sad than you were before, stop, you know what I mean? In this case, Alcoholics Anonymous, the desire to stop drinking. If you show up and you talk to other human beings, right, sober at the same time while they do it, it just fucking works. And I had to simplify it like that. Like, all we're doing right now, well, you guys are unfortunately have to listen to me, but like, all we're doing is sitting here together at the same time, not drinking at the same time. And what happens if you do that long enough, you're going to go do some activity and you're going to scare the shit out of yourself. You're going to get home and you're like, I actually didn't think about drinking. Like, I didn't compare, like, well, what would it be like? And people didn't know, like, you hit that point, that milestone. That's a fucking milestone where actually it was fucking normal. Like, I had a good time. It was normal. I didn't compare. I wasn't proud of myself because I didn't drink, and there's other people drinking. You're watching them drink, and you're thinking, and it's okay, and you don't have a real obsession and everything like that. There'll be a point if you hang out long enough that it's going to become fucking normal. It's just going to be fucking normal, period. And that's because, in my case, I surrounded myself with all alcoholics and addicts. Most of them were able to keep roofs over their heads, have nice things. We made it normal for ourselves. We made it completely fucking normal. And not only that, by the way, talk about where you think you're altruistic and you're trying to save people. I surrounded myself with people more fucked up than me constantly. My wife hated, my ex-wife hated that. Why are you hanging out? Fucking, well, no, everybody picks on him, and I know he's weird and she's weird and stuff like that, but someone's got to be there. No, man, I wasn't fucking trying to be nice. I was just making myself feel less fucked up. You know what I mean? Surround yourself. I didn't lie to other people. I painted a big picture of my reality. As a matter of fact, my relationship, I don't even talk about that very often, but my relationship, I could paint such a fucking fake picture. Not a liar. I actually came into this program honest until I came into conventional AA, and I felt like a fraud and a liar because of my lack of faith. But like, I had the ability to have a partner more than once that I would put on a pedestal, and I would create into this infallible fucking person, right? And go, this is the best, and shit, the best, this, and oh yeah. And then when that fake entity that I created didn't pan out because they're just a fucking human like me, I tore it down. That's shitty, right? That's worse than cheating. That's worse than, I don't know, it's worse than physical abuse or something like that. But it's a pretty shitty thing to fucking do, and but yeah, like, we made this crazy reality for ourselves for fucking a short period of time, but a lot of us a long time. And that thing about finding that normalcy, which is the biggest milestone, is that you find out that normal that you created was never fucking normal at all. And some of I've heard some of you talk, that you go out and you're like, fuck, I didn't know there's so many fucking sober people. Like in music industry, man, I'm 53 years old. I got sober at 49. When I went to the first punk rock show, all of a sudden I remember all the people that were sober. All of a sudden they're like, oh, welcome back. I forgot there was a lot of you. Then you start watching, every year you get older, there's less people. There's more people that are sober, and there's less people that aren't, just because obvious reasons why there's less people that aren't, because they go away. They no longer can hang out. You look at any celebrity out there that's, any celebrity, anybody relevant in art. There's a lot of artists and people that love art. You look at any relevant artist out there that's past a certain point of their lives, and they're an alcoholic or an addict, they've had to fucking deal with it and overcome it. There's, it's never, I mean, man, I pulled off, I'm not a celebrity, I'm just saying, I pulled off a very fun, encouraged to drink life. And, at some point, and I'll tell you what, like, again, if everything would have happened the way I wanted it to, it wouldn't have been happy at all. So I'm glad a bunch of bad shit happened to me. Another thing too, in the secular AA, we get to pat each other on the back, and we get to take credit for learning, right? And it's like, when I hear, it's one of the things is, I'm fucking annoying. I know I'm annoying because I'm this fucking eternal, like, optimist. When someone's bummed out and they wanted to say, like, I've had a bad day and this is shitty, I'm like, no, man, fucking this is this, and you could do this. I'm like, can't you just let me feel shitty for a second? I know I do that, but it comes from pain. I had to fucking find a way to have my brain that way. Otherwise I would be dead. You know what I mean? And it's like, fuck, lost track for the first time. But oh yeah, so when someone says, sharing here, and I've had a fucking bad day, I'm like, fuck yeah, I hope it fucking sucked. You didn't drink, did you? Well, the next time you have a bad day, you're going to compare that other day that you didn't drink, and you're going to grow muscles, and you're going to grow calluses, and you're learning how to fucking deal with shit, like, without alcohol or drugs. So when they say that all the fucking people, like, oh, well, an alcoholic behaves like this, and this, and that's the behavior of an alcoholic. 90% of it to me is fucking, that's just a fucking human. The difference with us is we found an easy switch. We could fix all of it fucking quick, man. Really quick, whether it's drugs or alcohol or other shit, right? We found a way, a shortcut, and then we apply it to everything else, and we're impatient, and we want it now. We want to be right. We want to go past it and not examine anything. and we live in our little bubble that's normal to us, right? So the thing is what's really cool about secular AA, what do we do spend a fucking whole time that we're not drinking together? We're not saying slogans most likely most of the time. We're not saying like excuses, one-offs. We're not outsourcing it. We're literally talking about fucking trying to fucking live without drinking and be happy about it, right? And so I'm watching people in this group since I've been here, like fucking get really fucking tough, man. Go through some really and going through some really hard shit, emotional, physical fucking pain, and they don't drink, and they come back, and then you know what I mean. And you're seeing people build tools. I don't. And look, you know, I love. I know it's supposed to be a safe place, but I also want people to fucking be able to deal with the shit that's out there, period, without drinking. And I see that. And when I go visit some old friends in conventional AA and this thing that they call serenity, and I remember in the beginning, I suffered from panic attacks, right? And without a benzo for fucking 45 months, wow. For me, that's fucking, you get used to alcohol, but when you need a fucking anxiety pill, you need it fucking right then, or you're gonna fucking die ER feeling. Yeah. But you go back and this thing that they call serenity and promises and stuff, and it's like no one really seems that serene. They seem like it'd all be taken away from them in a fucking second if they fucking cross the road the wrong way. They're addicted to the fear of losing their sobriety instead of going, like my case, I don't know what could make me fucking drink other than I'm a grown ass man and I decided to drink again. It won't be because something fucking bad happened. It won't be because I fucking feel like I deserve it. I won't be because I fucking celebrating and there's an excuse. It'll just because like I'm a grown up and I'll fucking die drunk. Okay. But what I'm saying is I hope everybody has bad enough time sober, doesn't drink to the point that they fucking feel like I do. And like, it's fucking normal. I don't call it serenity. I call it really, I call it like just really just all cliche, like at peace. I just kind of, I mean, you guys know me, man. It's fucking like, it feels good. It feels okay. It's no, and again, this last year, it's pushed me to the fucking brink, man. Like I came in, but I'll tell you what, I got to find out what I'm made of. You know, I did pick a very challenging path in life, and I found out what I was made of. You know, and I'll leave it with this. The last part of it. So AA is evolving. This or program or recovery is revolving. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? And it's just the pandemic brought us all together. Otherwise, you'd just be going to whatever place down the street, fold out chairs, shitty coffee. You're not with your pets, you know, and the gatekeepers would be there, and you wouldn't know any different. But you got to look over the borders, literally, and go, oh yeah, there's now there's like a million fucking meetings, and here we are. But we're in the middle of history. The last part of it is what keeps me fucking here. What keeps me here is to see the people in this group experience the things that like I've experienced, and watching these levels happen of people like go through shit and not drink and learn skills and fucking all of a sudden they're fucking performers. They went from I'm not sharing to fucking, you know, professional speakers and shit, and they don't even know it, right? And it's all fucking natural. I think one of the things is, and I have a good friend I started sobriety with, and you know, he was kind of one of those guys. He's in the music industry too, and I kind of stopped hanging out with him because he'd always go, "Yeah, you know, let's go to that show because so and so's there." And I want him to do. He was going out to fucking schmooze with people. He was choosing what he was going to do to, and it was just like a fake thing. And it's like, no, I can't. I don't want it, you know. And you know, we were both sober, and you know, he ended up, and this was like, oh, he's scary, relapsing. You know, like he relapsed, and you know, and he goes, you know, but before he did, he goes, you know, yeah, the AA thing, it just like I've gotten everything I can get out of it. You know, it just doesn't do much for me anymore. Like after being sober a couple of years, his the way he was built, like his mentality, his personality or whatever, like he didn't see it. It was he got all he could out of it. And what keeps me here is I fucking get off on seeing people get better, do less harm to themselves, fucking find a connection, man. Fucking, if you can't, the longevity of being in this program is being of service. And it's not like, it's being a service. And by the way, the number one thing here's, if I'm going to say one horror story about don't do this or you're going to fucking not going to make it, don't burn out. And I can see some of you know what I'm talking about for sure. Don't burn out. Don't do more than you can. Do not feel obligated to fucking do things. And I know I did get here and you're like, okay, I'll volunteer for this and I'm going to do this and you want to do everything at once because again, this is the new thing. This is the new drug, right? And this is going to fix it that we're used to our whole lives. It's natural, right? But don't burn out. Don't burn out. If you need to take a break, if you have the desire to stop drinking, you're most likely. And by the way, the relapse thing too, man, it sounds shitty, but I get kind of excited when I hear some of my friends here like that relapse, and then they get bummed out and they feel guilty. Then they come back, and then they get sober again. And sometimes it takes a million times. Well, I want you to fucking take as many times as you want. By the way, some of us don't make it. It's the fucking truth. Don't try to fucking save people that don't want it. There's plenty of peer people like to hear that have the desire just to get better. So don't worry about, again, trying to save other people to just deflect from your own shit, right? Just, I don't know, man. Just don't burn out. Find the thing that's going to keep you here is enjoying being a service, but you don't have to do anything to be a service. You just have to open your mouth and share what's going on and listen to other people. I don't have a sponsor. I pick up the phone and I don't have a sponsor. I have certain people that I can call that have more experience in different places. So I'm not limited to one thing. And I pick up the phone for anybody who wants to call me. Right. And so again, not against sponsors. I'm just saying is, at least in this group, that none of it's required. The only requirement is the desire to stop drinking. So anyway, a lot of stuff last year. I moved fucking halfway across the country, got in my car, and it's going okay. I like the Midwest. People are nice here. There's actually seasons and weather. So that's fucking cool. And yeah, I felt to like put a flag. Eddie, do you have a flag? I just felt like putting a flag in 45 months and telling you guys how much I appreciate.